It all started with a ball. Not leather, not rubber, not stitched together with laces, but foam. In 1969, Parker Brothers released what they called the world's first indoor ball. The Nerf ball was marketed as completely harmless. You could throw it inside the house, knock over a lamp, and nothing would break. Parents loved it. Kids loved it even more. The slogan was simple: throw it indoors. You can't damage lamps or break windows. In an era when parents still shouted, "Take it outside," Nerf gave children permission to rebel. Safely. For a while, that was all Nerf was. Just a soft ball in bright colors. A toy that seemed innocent, almost pure. No competition, no firepower, no empire. Just fun. But innocence doesn't stay profitable forever. The foam ball may have been safe for homes, but it was also safe for something else: corporate experimentation. Nerf's harmless exterior was the perfect Trojan horse, and soon, that soft ball would evolve into something entirely different: a weapon. What began as a simple toy would transform childhood play into something much darker, and Hasbro was about to cash in. 2 decades after the foam ball's debut, Nerf made its first real pivot from sports to combat. In 1989, the Nerf Blast-A-Ball hit shelves. It looked simple enough, a tube that fired foam balls with a puff of air. But it marked a turning point. Nerf was no longer just about tossing a ball across the living room. It was about firing at your friends. The idea caught on instantly. A year later, the Nerf bow and arrow arrived, launching foam darts across backyards. Suddenly, kids weren't just playing catch. They were arming themselves. By the early 90s, Nerf had planted the seed of its empire: violence, sanitized for children. Bright colors and soft foam made it safe. But the psychology was crystal clear. Hasbro wasn't selling toys anymore. They were selling firepower, and the marketing leaned into it. Commercials shouted promises of maximum power and domination. Kids weren't teammates, they were targets. The foam ball had given children freedom. The blaster gave them an enemy. And from that moment, Nerf wasn't just a toy line. It was a battlefield. And Hasbro was about to arm an entire generation. By the mid-1990s, Nerf wasn't selling toys. It was selling an identity. The commercials weren't playful. They were aggressive, loud, militaristic. Kids dove behind couches like soldiers in combat zones. Slow-motion darts flew across neon-lit sets. And every tagline pushed the same message: it's Nerf or nothing. The brilliance was in the framing. Nerf wasn't telling kids they were buying foam blasters. Nerf was telling them they were buying power. Power over their friends, over the battlefield of the backyard. If you didn't own the newest blaster, you were weak, outgunned, left behind. Hasbro created an arms race, not in boardrooms, but in living rooms. Kids begged for the latest model, one that shot farther, faster, harder. Parents opened their wallets, not realizing they weren't just buying toys, but fueling a cycle of manufactured competition. Nerf wasn't the world's first toy to thrive on collect-them-all psychology, but it was one of the first to weaponize it, literally. Childhood wasn't just about play anymore. It was about dominance, and Hasbro was raking in profits with every foam dart fired. By the 2000s, Nerf had exploded far beyond the backyard. What started as a niche toy line became a global franchise under Hasbro's control. No longer just foam darts, Nerf diversified into blasters, bows, balls, and even video games. Every year brought new models with bigger names: Vortex, Elite, Mega, Rival. Each one louder, flashier, more expensive, and engineered to make last year's blaster feel obsolete. Hasbro wasn't just selling toys. They were building a self-contained arms industry, complete with annual weapons launches and loyal customers conditioned to upgrade. And when that cycle wasn't enough, Hasbro licensed Nerf into blockbuster universes. Marvel, Star Wars, even Fortnite. Kids weren't just shooting foam darts anymore. They were wielding Iron Man's gauntlet, Captain America's shield, or a blaster ripped straight from their favorite video game. This wasn't about fun. It was about saturation. Nerf wasn't competing with other toy companies. Nerf was competing with itself, dominating shelf space in every toy aisle and planting itself in every child's imagination. The result? A toy line that had once been safe, harmless, even silly, now stood as one of Hasbro's crown jewels. A billion-dollar empire built on foam and marketing. Behind the neon colors and foam darts was something much darker. Psychology. Nerf wasn't just selling toys. It was shaping behavior. First, the illusion of safety. Parents saw soft foam and thought harmless fun. But that very softness allowed Hasbro to normalize aggression. Kids could aim, shoot, and eliminate their friends without consequence. It wasn't violent. It was just Nerf. Second, the escalation trap. Each new blaster was bigger, louder, more powerful. Kids who once shared a ball in the living room were suddenly comparing fire rates and dart capacities. Peer pressure made the upgrade cycle relentless. Nobody wanted to be the kid with a last year's blaster. And then there was the price point. Nerf blasters were cheap enough that parents gave in, but expensive enough to fatten Hasbro's bottom line. Each $20 or $40 purchase felt harmless, until you realized it was part of a billion-dollar system. This wasn't accidental. Hasbro engineered Nerf to condition kids, to crave dominance, to chase upgrades, to equate fun with consumption. The company disguised this training as play, but what they were really doing was creating lifelong customers. By the 2000s, Nerf had become more than a toy brand. It was a cultural training ground. The commercials were no longer just about kids in backyards. They mirrored action movies and military campaigns, complete with tactical gear, slow-motion combat, and slogans that sounded closer to recruitment ads than toy pitches. Nerf's genius was in sanitizing war. Bright neon darts replaced bullets, but the rituals were the same: aiming, firing, reloading, winning. It was combat, stripped of blood, stripped of consequence, but still deeply ingrained in the imagination of children. And this wasn't happening in a vacuum. America's obsession with firearms and military might provide fertile ground. Nerf became the child-friendly extension of a much bigger cultural story, one where weapons were glorified, power was celebrated, and competition defined identity. Hasbro didn't invent that culture, but they monetized it. They turned it into brightly packaged boxes that lined toy aisles, whispering the same message again and again: gear up or be left behind. What began as a foam ball had now transformed into a billion-dollar battlefield, one where every child became both soldier and consumer. Today, Nerf is one of Hasbro's crown jewels, a billion-dollar brand with a global footprint. Entire aisles of toy stores are dedicated to its arsenal, from $10 pistols to $100 elite systems. There are Nerf arenas where kids can pay to battle like soldiers. There are video games, YouTube channels, even professional Nerf influencers. What began as a single foam ball has metastasized into an ecosystem, a corporate trap disguised as childhood fun. And like all traps, it was built on psychology. Nostalgia ensures parents keep buying, peer pressure ensures kids keep upgrading, and Hasbro ensures the cycle never ends, with new models released every year. It's not just play, it's planned obsolescence with foam darts. The betrayal is simple. We thought Nerf was harmless. We thought it was safe. But Nerf wasn't training us for war. It was training us for something worse. To become perfect consumers, conditioned to spend, compete, and crave the next upgrade. The truth is, Nerf never left the battlefield. It just moved it inside your wallet. And in that war, Hasbro always wins.